Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Welcome back to CyberChicks fam. Today's guest, Haseeb Awan, is an experienced CEO in the cybersecurity and crypto space. Haseeb has been highlighted in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Mashable, Hulu, NASDAQ, Netflix, Techcrunch, Coinbase. I could go on and on. Haseeb has been awarded various recognitions, such as the top 10 startups of the year and the Ottawa Immigrant Entrepreneur of the Year. Congratulations, by the way. His background is super diverse, from a bachelor's in electrical engineering and telecommunications to a master's in engineering management, all the way to prestigious incubator and founder programs, along with professional certifications to just sprinkle in the mix, such as a technology entrepreneurship certification from Stanford and his PMP. Haseeb, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us today, and we're super excited to learn from you. To kick off, would you mind just giving our listeners a quick introduction? We'd love to hear about what you're currently dedicated today professionally.
Thanks, Erika and Jax for having me on the show. We just work with high-profile individuals, mostly celebrities, ultra high net worth individuals, and important people on their cell phone security. So think about it just like a T-Mobile or like any other cell phone carrier, but for important people.
Wow, I love that. And I'm like really, really impressed with your background. I was really excited when Erika said that you were our guest on the show. You have a fascinating background in being somebody that works in the cybersecurity space. I am familiar with some of the cryptocurrency space and what you're doing within that space. So we're going to be diving into that. But before we do, one of the things that we like to do on this show is kind of, again, demystify this space of technology. So from the beginning of your career in engineering, let's just preface it that way, from pivoting from engineering then into mobile security, if you could go back in time, okay, and you could look at yourself, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self before stepping into this field?
I think take more risk, right? Like, and don't. For me, it's different because obviously I was also moving countries, and I was like, I was a student, I was getting crypto, and I went to Y Combinator. If you look at back 15 years, it looks like a movie. Like it looks like, okay, there's like, like sometimes I don't believe what we did, right? And I'll tell you something very interesting, because today is actually a day. We just had 4th of July, and the company that I co-founded 10 years ago went public just a day before 4th July, 3rd of July, right? So we were acquired by a SPAC and went public. And so the ticker was basically the ticker that we were looking at like maybe 9 years ago. This is what we trademarked and everything. So I was thinking about, oh my God, like, it's 4th of July, people are talking about achievement, man, and what a timing to go public.
Yeah.
And I really, and trust me, we didn't time it at all, but it just happened. So I was talking, I actually didn't have the authority to even do that, but like it was like I was just sitting on the ticker and watching this stock trade. It's just like, like thinking about, we used to hear about NASDAQ, right? Like, this is something that people go, top companies do. So I always used to think about who are the people who build these kinds of companies. You'll think about like, Bayan Raid in Pakistan. You're thinking about, okay, man, there's someone like Elon Musk, right? Like, no Elon Musk, but you think about, we used to write books, biographies about those, right? Those are people who actually did. And now you're saying, okay, man, we are there. People are talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That we built in our garage. So I think it becomes kind of emotional at times, in a way that when you look at how life has been with you and like, and all the pain that you've gone through, but ultimately it paid off. So my experience with this is probably my third main startup, and all the third startups, it hasn't been like I wanted to build a startup. It was just like I enjoyed something and it just turned into a startup. So I'll start off with the first one. I was into car racing and everything, and we set up a website for car racing. Like my friends did, so I joined them, and uh, 6 years later, we had 8 million members, and
That's awesome.
who enjoyed the love of car, right? And we never at any point of time we thought this would be a business. It was just a hobby for us, turned into a business. Anyways, with Bitcoin ATM, I literally only wanted to buy Bitcoins for cheaper. There was no other way around. And our story was that we met at a at a meetup, and we said, let's start a fix a way to Bitcoin ATM, like built a bit to buy cheaper Bitcoins, because people were sending envelopes back in the day to exchanges. And that turned into, maybe 9 years later, we had 10,000 locations. And now we are talking about Bitcoin ATM, like if security, help from security. I'm a telecom engineer. Frankly, I hated engineering. I still hate engineering sometimes if I have to do work, but I enjoy building products. I enjoy,
Yeah.
because it's like a painting. You want, like with the painter. I'm not a painter, but like, if you're a painter, my sister is actually. So she thinks about, image. This is what I want to draw on the line on the page. That's how you draw as a coder. You want software to do things that you want to do yourself. So it's like you're training a slave. Like, I'm just talking in terms that you're building something that will work for you while you're sleeping. And
Right.
just the idea that we, as a human today, we are empowered to do so is so powerful, that we can ask code to do things while we are sleeping. Like how interesting this is, right? Like, how uh, powerful this is.
Hmm.
And when I got into this cell phone security thing, I was hacked. I said this is a stupid way to hack, because I believe that I was very, very careful with all the security stuff and everything. But I got hacked. And I realized my cell phone carrier is basically, I can install MDNs, I can install endpoint security, firewalls, VPN. You can think about the things, but someone can walk into a cell phone store and hack my account who makes $10 an hour. So that's my foundation of my security. So I realized there's no cell phone security there. So that's how I started a company. Again, 3 years down the road, we have 98% retention rate, and we that's what we do. So the story behind all of this is that it didn't happen because I wanted to do something. It just happened because I wanted to solve a problem, which is a cliche in the industry, but that actually happened.
Haseeb, I think that that's been a very natural progression for you. It sounds like you've been very self-aware and you've been finding solutions to things you enjoy or that you're interested in being a part of. So that's a really cool. And I'd love to kind of just dive into you know this whole concept that you just brought up, like blockchain, crypto, all of these terms, they're buzzwords, right? But they're also kind of daunting. Some see it as the future of technology, right? Other people are curious, like, and scared, right? They don't know where to start gaining information. People are always a little bit weary of things they don't understand. And so, from your perspective, where is the best place, and how does one start to understand how crypto, how the blockchain really works? Specifically speaking to, security practitioners out there that are wanting to understand, what's coming down the pipeline as more and more customers are coming to us asking us for help and support in the spin up of these environments, securing them, and then getting prepared for regulators to also crack down and give some direction on where these safeguards have to be.
Yes, so security is crypto is a bit interesting. And so, first of all, if you want to learn crypto, I would just recommend it to use type in your city and type crypto meetup. It's the easiest way. Go to if you live in San Francisco, type San Francisco Bitcoin meetup. There's a meetup in every city. Literally, like, when we started off, there was literally very difficult to find someone. You can, if you have a meetup, you'll have like 10, 20 people at most. Now you go to a conference, there are like thousands of this. And frankly, there's the conference every day, right? So within 100 miles, you will have a conference a month. So you can go there, find out, and learn about it. And if you want to learn more, just buy Bitcoins. Like, you don't have to buy a Bitcoin. You can buy for $10, $20, and learn about this. Because once you, like, I can teach you all the books on you can watch all the YouTube videos on how to dance, but you have to actually dance, or surf or
Sure.
swimming, right? Or like, you have to actually jump in the pool to learn. You cannot just watch the book. So that's how you should do it. Otherwise, one thing that has happened in crypto is that, because irreversible, so you can technically steal someone money and cash out in a country that, or outside that, or use it online, um, and no one can catch you. It's not a bank transaction. There's no, chargebacks and everything. That makes it very easy for people to hack. Like, literally, um, there isn't a week, like, in the last, like, maybe 3 years, that I haven't found anyone who lost their entire life savings and they can't get it back. So it's very tough, because ordinary, like, we hear about hacks every day, but it doesn't impact people's lives as critical as it does. Like, people, credit card get hacked, they do a chargeback, it's all good. People have sometimes wires, they get hacked, their social media get taken over. Okay, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's not like a such thing. While losing your retirement fund is something that's challenging. You're 65, you are enjoying, and you lost everything you had, and now you have to work again. And if you look at the hacks, the challenge with the decentralization and everything is that sometimes, even if the person knows they're being hacked, they can't do anything, and literally funds are being drained in front of them. Like, think about your money, thieves stealing your money, you can't do anything, you can just hold on to that. So crypto is, I think, 20% of all the bitcoins are hacked or something. If you look at the statistics, 20% of our entire industry is gone because of hack. And you have hacked for $1 billion, like 100, like, think about a bank being hacked for $1 billion. You don't hear about these things, but crypto happens every day. But the biggest challenge is, sometime, if I tell you that people are giving 100,000 or millions of dollars to someone they don't know, it's so crazy that they just went online and they will just deploy, and the guy says, oh, I screwed up, I'm just deleting my Twitter account and gone. And that happens in crypto almost every day. And the most funny part is, in our Bitcoin ATM, we had, do not send money to anyone that you don't know. It's a big notice.
Right.
It's in a thing, and it's in a page, and says, if every question, give you a call. And they'll still do it.
Of course.
And they'll come back 2 days after, and they say, oh, someone stole my money. Say, like, what is this warning about? Oh, I have no idea how those people get trapped. And Bitcoin, like, if you use any ransomware in regular cybersecurity, it comes to crypto as well. So crypto is and will be probably one of the highest source of illicit money transfer, with the size of, like, we, like, money laundering happens in the banks too. Like, banks are one of the biggest money launderers. But at the same time, if you look at percentage, it will probably 2% of their business. But if you look crypto, it's just easy to. So crypto is very receptive to hackers, because number one, it's so easy to hack. Number two, there's no traceability. And number three, once you have the money, you have the money. So
Yeah. So I want to follow up question on some of the things that you were saying, because any of our listeners that are listening, I'm a little worried about getting into the space, because I'm not really sure, like, how do I protect myself? Because you were just talking about people getting hacked, losing life savings. Like, how devastating would that be when you think you have all this money, now it's gone? It's hard to track. It's nearly impossible to recover. If it has been recovered, it's a very small percent. And you even said that the machines that you have, they have warnings: do not, like, send money to people you do not know. Yet we see it constantly. That's why phishing attacks are so good. It's so easy to get people with. So I'm curious in this space, what is your perspective on what organizations or individuals can do to manage their risk if they're in the crypto space?
Actually, this comes to another business idea that I think someone should implement it. So you know about SOC 2 more than I do. We talk about the, ISO 27001. There's actually no standard in crypto. So so it's so crazy that there's no standard crypto. There's no security checklist. There's no certified. We just went through type 2 certification, and you understand how difficult it is, right? There's 77 pages report they have to fill in, and we can't do anything. And you'll be surprised that probably maybe less than a dozen companies in entire crypto are SOC 2. For industry that is like almost like 2 trillion, last year. Only less than a dozen companies are SOC 2 compliant. And so you're handing over the money. There's no SOC 2, no ISO, no there's no framework. So I think there's a need to build a framework where anyone can come in. So like Jax want to become I want to get in crypto. And okay, there's a 10 people checklist that you should follow. There's no checklist. Okay, you onboard an employee on this exchange. What is the checklist? So they have all developed their own, but kind of everyone have their own practices. But there's no I'll give you an example. This small, it's a $35 device, and people have millions of 100 millions, and they don't even spend money, $10 spending money on a hardware device. Right. So and if you look at crypto hacks, there's no standard. I think there's a need for that, where any company should go through and certify. There's an idea for you guys and anyone on the thing. If I wasn't doing myself, I would be building that one.
That would be your fourth startup.
Fourth startup.
Yeah.
Pitching it to a governing body or becoming the governing body that creates the standard, says, here's the framework, adopt, or you can't play in this space.
It's like certification, right? You have to do it, but this is such a stupid idea, right? Because we suffered through that. Right now, people ask us when they come to us, they say, okay, I just got in crypto, I just got your SIM card. What else should I do? And we tell them get a FIDO keys, set up 2-factor, use Authy, use this and everything. But there's no checklist, and the reason why we haven't developed it because we're scared of liabilities, and because it's okay, people will click stuff. So there's a need for that, and I believe that's where crypto and cybersecurity companies can come and build companies.
Absolutely. And I do think that, there's the side missing on the regulatory perspective, because if no one's cracking down on it and demanding these types of assurances, then that's why there hasn't been a need for the framework, right, to be developed to provide said assurance. So I think, I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg, but I definitely agree with your point that something's got to be done. So I'm going to do a quick little pivot here. I spent some time on your blog, which I loved, by the way. It was very, very great. And there was a post that you had in 2019 that was focused on trust and decentralized finance. And honestly, I got deep in the weeds. I'm over here Googling, trying to research as much as I can about that. But I was really curious. You wrote that in 2019. How do you think we're trending in terms of decentralized financial systems? Have decentralized exchanges and protocols matured the way that you thought they would today here in 2023?
They haven't, right? The reason for that is because I was in crypto almost 10, 11 years, 10 years ago. I still believe that finance overall is broken. You want to do a credit check, I'll give you an example. I had to I moved to US 4 years ago, and I couldn't get my car financed, right? So I literally had to pay someone, see how stupid this is. I had to pay someone so they can give me a card that they will charge me fees on, so I can build my credit. How stupid this is, right? So, and other financial products are not well suited for it. You move money around and everything. So I still believe that decentralization has a thing, but the challenge that we are suffering is because how do you bring it to mass market? It's like email. Not everyone can build their own data center and build their own hosting clients. They have to rely on a Gmail or a Yahoo, or it's decentralized systems which can guide them. So I think it will be a combination, but I really like the idea of where people should be able to interact with others without going into RV. So I use decentralization a lot of times for fun, because I'm very fascinated that literally you can carry your entire net worth on a small. This is the different key, but like a device like this, and like you can literally have everything. And if you want to move your place, rather than going through the banks and everything, you can just walk away with the machine and go to an ATM and take out money. Like how cool this is to be your own bank.
Very cool. Yeah. And I know you talked about like the future being a marketplace of sorts. And I thought that was totally fascinating. So just a plug for anyone listening or watching this, check out Haseeb's blog because there were a lot of really good nuggets in there.
Oh, thank you that you read it. Yeah.
And I just want to add too, just for the listeners. So you're currently in Puerto Rico, but he has a very interesting background. Pakistani-born Canadian who lived in the United States and now living in Puerto Rico. And so before we wrap up, I'm just curious, why Puerto Rico out of everything, out of all the locations?
So there are multiple reasons, right? So I moved to US almost 4 years ago, and practically I moved in 2019 December. And what happened in March 2020?
Oh yeah,
We
yeah,
had a
COVID.
pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So COVID. So for 2 years, so think about, you go to a country and you don't know anyone and you can't talk to anyone for almost 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So I was sick and tired. I was living in California. I was sick and tired of like living in California. Then like I couldn't talk to anyone. Like people were wearing masks while they were driving cars, and like and no one talked to anyone. And I thought, I'm like, it was so stupid, right? And it personally, because I have a kid too, and he had a speech delay and everything, so we were kind of isolated in a stuff. So I wanted to go to a place where I can talk and be very friendly. So
Yeah.
that was the one thing. And then the weather was really good, and obviously tax incentives. And not just that, I wanted to focus more on decentralization and everything, and crypto is kind of becoming a hub for crypto things. So I moved there. I said, okay, I want to talk something. I want to run an experiment and everything. I'm moving back to California, by the way, next month. But like I think the best time of my life is spent in Puerto Rico, as in the weather is best. Like there's no place on earth where you can, probably there is, but where you can, zero taxes. Taxes are a big thing. So people who don't know, there's no federal, no state tax there. So you can live there and basically make. So for folks who, because I work remote. If I live in California, like Puerto Rico, it doesn't have any difference. So.
Right.
But now you're making 30, 40, 50% more than what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's a more thing. The weather is good. You can literally go to a pool like 1 a.m. in January. So you don't have to think about that. And everyone is super happy. One thing I've noticed in Puerto Rico, that everyone is super happy. And this is my first time
They
living in
are.
a Spanish thing. I don't know if it's a Spanish thing or it's basically Puerto Rico, but you never hear about any complaint. So like in the US, people say, oh, I have a nice house, but my dog has this problem.
Oh yeah.
Right? And Puerto Rico people say, oh, my life is this bad, but when I'm alive, so everything is good. So it's a perspective about like, what comes after but. In Puerto Rico, after but, everything is gratitude. But in the US mainland, everything is a complaint after but.
So true. So true on that. But, well, we're going to be happy to have you back next month. Definitely stay in touch with us. Speaking of staying in touch, what is the best way for our listeners and our viewers to be able to reach you? Is that LinkedIn? Because we'll throw everything in the show notes for them to be able to contact you, including your blog.
Yeah, LinkedIn is pretty good too. Twitter is pretty good too. I'm pretty responsive on Twitter. My username is Haseeb, my first name. Or they can reach to me at haseeb@efani.com or haseeb@awan@efani.com. And I'm pretty quick in responding to emails.
You're amazing, Haseeb. Thank you so much. And I just want to do a quick wrap and thank all of our followers and now subscribers. Go us. We're on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, just a friendly reminder, it would mean the world to us if you guys hit subscribe, you liked, and you shared this out with others. Thank you again, Haseeb. You are the best. See ya.
Thank you, Jax. Thank you, Erika.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you learned something new and this story made you think, then share ITSP Magazine with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our columns. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.